Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Q&A of Lift like a Girl. My name is Ruth Somalo, and I'm one of the featured programmers. And it's my great pleasure to have today director Mayye Zayed and the co-producer Anna Bolster. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
How are you doing?
Good, good.
Great. So tell us, May, I think this is your first feature film, and also you're like director, you're a cinematographer, you've been an editor before, and you became a producer and even created your own producing company. And then you collaborated with Anna, who is also a producer, and, to push forward this incredible, female power in front of the camera, behind the camera projects. So tell us a little bit about how did you get involved in the project? And how was your collaboration like?
Well, I mean, for me, I always knew about Nahla. Like I've known about Nahla Ramadan back in 2003 when I was only 18 years old. And I read in the news about this, young girl from Alexandria who just won the world championships. And it really it was so big. It was everywhere in the news, and it was such an inspiring story because I didn't know that there were female weightlifters in Egypt and also in Alexandria, my hometown. And when I read about her and how she's training daily in the streets with her father, I mean, the story really stayed with me for so long. So back in 2014 or 2014, when a colleague of mine told me that he passes by Captain Ramadan, the father of Nahla Ramadan and coach, on his way from work, and that he and the Captain Ramadan is still training little girls in that space in Alexandria. I immediately wanted to just see him, go and meet him, and I felt that I really want to make a film about this world, and this is how it all started. And then I met Anna actually in 2015. We were both participating in the documentary campus master school, and it's like a 10 months program for development. And Anna was with another project, but I could really see that we share the same mindset when it stayed in touch, and Anna later joined the project with her partner Anka.
Yes, was a great decision. I mean, as Mai says, we met very early. It was also the first international pitch of Lift Like a Girl. And it really fascinated me what Inside Mai has, She came across, and I remember that the discussion in the very beginning was whether to focus on Captain Ramadan, the trainer, or on the girls. And I'm very proud of Mai, how she managed to create this balance of telling the story and the relationship of Sabiba and Captain Ramadan, and also sharing this environment of the whole training ground with the other girls, because as you can see in the film, it's like a production of female weightlifting masters, and though we are focusing on one protagonist, we don't want to brush aside that it's really remarkable that in Egypt there's a place where a lot of girls actually do their training and become weightlifters.
And Maya, I think something that is really brilliant is that we see that you spend a lot of time there, and you spent like 4 years filming, you collected all this footage, you became part of that amazing community that is formed around Captain Ramadan and like that dilapidated piece of the world in this little corner. But tell us a little bit about how did you went about gathering the story? Did you shoot all the different girls and everybody was like a potential character at the beginning? Like when were you shooting and editing? Like what was your process in honing in the story that we get to see at the end?
Well, I mean, when we first started filming, we didn't really know how the story will be. Like we were filming more than one girl actually, and the first idea was to follow like three different girls in different age groups. But then I think after the first year or 2 years of filming, I kind of felt that Zabiba is the character for us. First, because she was the one that has the most special relationship with Captain Ramadan. She's the closest, and the second thing is because she was the one who was starting this journey. I mean, there were older girls who have already accomplished themselves and have already won medals at world championships or the Olympics or whatever. But Zabiba was just starting the journey, and I felt that it would mean a lot to the audience to see just one girl from this community and follow her journey along the way. So yeah, I mean, the DP and I were always going there. We were going there maybe a few days every month, and for 4 years. And we became just part of the community, and we became family with them. And yeah.
And we get to see a lot of how she kind of grows and how the relationship grow. And Capitan Ramadan is such an incredible character. Like if you see it scripted on a film, you'll think he's brilliant because he's so full of amazing contradictions. He's had so much energy, so much love, yet he's so unaffected and like a little bit bullying sometimes. You know, he's got this very kind of like hard personality, but you get to see and believe the intimacy of their relationship and how much, you know, he's nailed a certain type of like coaching approach of like pressuring you enough but also giving you enough, you know, support to believe in yourself, which is kind of like this magic key that we're all looking for. How did you see the making of this film and your presence supporting them both? Because in many ways they're both, even if Captain Ramadan is like this maker of Olympic champions, he's also very much an underdog because he's like working with no support, you know, no economical, you know, funding. And these girls that are themselves like very much underdogs, not only in the world of weightlifting but in their own society. So can you tell us about how, sorry, my cat just crossed by, how the filmmaking process and being part of your team affected these two very different characters?
I mean, I really I loved all of them, all the characters in the film, and especially Captain Ramadan and Zabiba. First, because they're really, I felt that they are so honest, that they're so real, and I didn't want to sugarcoat any of that reality in the film. And by being there, I felt that I'm trying to help them, you know, to let the world know their story. I mean, Captain Ramadan was training women for more than 20 years to be weightlifters. And then no one really knew about him outside of Egypt or the Arab world. And even in Egypt, people just read about him every now and then in the news, but then they don't really see the reality of this world, and how he's really doing a lot of stuff with the little that he has, as the girls, and how, you know, how all of them are really, they have formed this strong bond between each one of them, and the coach, of course. So I felt, I mean, at the beginning, they were really they thought that we're just journalists, that we were going there just to film an interview and then we'll leave. But then I explained to them and to Captain Ramadan that we're really making a film and we wanna just tell their story to the world. And they were very supportive, and they trusted me, especially Captain Ramadan, since day one. He was like he was the most one who really knew what we were doing or kind of understood. The young girls, I mean, they were, because they were there most of the time, didn't really get to understand what we're doing. Because again, I mean, if you tell someone I'm making a film about you, they don't understand the impact of it. But I think they did once they watched the final film when we finished editing, because I was very keen to have them the first audience, you know, to watch the film.
And what did they say when they saw themselves in the film? And has the film, because it's been screened in Egypt, right?
No, not yet.
Not yet, not yet. Okay. So what did they think when they saw themselves in the film? And do you think that maybe, you know, the distribution of this film and, you know, the support that is getting internationally will help, you know, maybe this young group of women get more resources to keep on going with their training?
I mean, when they watched the film, they really liked it, and it was very emotional. You know, because for more than 5 or 6 years, they were really asking me when this film will be finished, when can we see it. So I was very like, I really wanted them to be the first to see it. So the moment we finished editing, even before working on sound, I made a screening in our office and just screened it to them. And I was very happy to see them laughing, crying, and you know, and having all these emotions. And then they told me that they really love it because it really brings memories to them. And some of them didn't really like. Of course, they know that we were always filming, but I think after some time, the camera became part of the community as well. So they weren't really paying attention to what's being filmed and what's not. So they were very surprised in some moments. They were like, "Oh, I don't remember saying that, but it's on camera, so I must have said it." So things like that. But they really love it, and they're very looking forward to, you know, having it screened in the movie theaters or like in festivals in Egypt. And that should happen in Cairo Film Festival in December.
May I add, you asked about the impact also for the community and the training conditions. What became very obvious for us is that aside of the festival audience, which we of course love and come from as filmmakers, to us it's really important to have an impact in the girls' lives. And Maya has spent quite some time and energy on developing an impact campaign that also targets to reach audiences. For instance, you see the topic of nutrition in this film quite a lot. Those girls are struggling to keep their weight, right? So what we figured is, as you said, they are rather underdogs. Also, the trainer, there's very little knowledge about nutrition for athletes, for instance, because most of the information is only available in English, and most of it is customized for men. So one of my great goals is to make this nutrition information available for the girls in Arab language and also for female bodies. And I think this is also something we really want to reach with a film that is beyond what the story tells or what we can capture in the film, and worth also following in the future in the future life of the film.
Yeah,
Right.
and
Yeah, sorry. Go
the
ahead.
other thing also we want to have in the impact campaign is actually like take the film to schools and youth centers, and you know, to audiences that don't usually go to festivals or can't afford a movie ticket, and especially young audiences, because in the film and in many cultures, there's a big gender bias in language, and you see it in the film, that even when the girls cheer each other, they just say, "Be a man," or something like that. And it is very embedded in the culture and in society that I mean, when I think of it, in Egypt, there is no other term to cheer someone, you know, as an athlete. So I hope that the film, when we screen it with young audiences, that it opens the discussion. Like, why do we say that? Why is it like, how can we find other terms, you know, that are less sexist, you know, or that's not that gender biased. So I also hope that the film opens this conversation.
Absolutely. And you see that there's also, it's really important for them to have each other as a network of women that are all invested in the same, you know, Olympic exercise, and, you know, with the harshness of the conditions they have to work. Like, and you were talking, Anna, thank you so much for bringing that point up, because I think one of the most poignant conversations in the film is when you see the pressure that these girls are working under, and they're even saying, "Oh, I just had an apple yesterday, I haven't eaten today yet," you know, and you're like, you're heartbroken. You're like, how can they even get up from bed, you know, let alone lift all this weight? And I'm really happy that you've made you know, very precise decision in the film to make those socioeconomical aspects really run through the whole story. So yeah, that's brilliant that you have this like outreach campaign, and thank you for sharing it with us. So maybe to finish, and you said something beautiful, which is like we need to create better language, not only, you know, in Egypt but in the world, I think, because this is like a larger systemic problem. When people say you're running like a girl or lifting weights like a man. So what could we do, and what can we ask our audiences to do, like after watching this film, to support that endeavor, not only, you know, the endeavor of the young athletes from Egypt, but, you know, worldwide?
I mean, for me, I think part of the problem is that there aren't many films about strong women to start with, or like, or yeah. So I hope when people get to watch the film, and especially young girls and boys, actually, when they watch little Zabiba lifting all these weights, that changes something, you know, in their perspective. Because if they see it, you know, that this girl lifts up to 90 kilos, then I mean, the word of be a man or man up doesn't really make any sense anymore, because who said that strength is has to be associated with masculinity or with men? So I think part of the solution is actually making more films with strong female characters, and that young audiences have the chance to watch these films. I don't know. I don't know if Anna wants to add something.
Well, I think it pretty much is valid international what you just said, and the only thing I could add is being honest with your own biases, because I remember what fascinated me the most. I had stereotypes when I started this project, and I think that was what captured me the most from the very beginning, that I thought like, wow, you know, I think like this is impossible in Egypt, and yet there is this underdog place where these fantastic female athletes come from, you know. And when I ask myself, how, you know, would it be if I would attempt a weightlifting career in Germany, which is supposedly a very liberal society, then yet I would be afraid to be confronted with stereotypes or prejudice. So I think it's the power of a single story, like keep the individuality and also become more generous in general. If it's not carved in stone, then probably there is a good chance that there is a much more variety. We've learned it with gender and gender definitions, and we realize that female, male, you know, it's not sufficient anymore to describe our society. So we should open up, and women is one of the topics. And how did, was it Hillary Clinton who said the least detected potential in society? Yeah, they're so capable, and we can only reduce our biases and really question, like, do I have a bias here, and try to get over it.
Well, thank you so much to both of you, who are incredible women, you know, behind the cameras in this force of nature of documentary world that we live in. Thank you for telling these stories of great female, powerful role models. Thank you for being with us at Doc and Wacy.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.